Okay, here we go. So this is all about loans and investments, and this is a project unit. As in at the end, you don't have a test. It's kind of nice, but the downside to that is you got to do this basically giant worksheet thing. Okay, to do that, you're going to really have to learn how to use a calculator to do things like this, because this, when they get more complicated, cannot really be done in your head. All right. So I want to remind you, we did do something like this before. We would start with 3. I know you guys know that means times, and then you could also add 3. So I realize that's not really worth much time to do that, because what you're going to be using is this special app on your calculator that does these kind of things for you. So this is mostly just a review of our last unit test, was kind of like that. Now go to this page of the notes. All right. Can you give me an example of something you would take a loan out for?
House.
House. What else? Say it.
Car.
Yes. Those are the big two.
Maybe.
Yes, people do put their phone on payments.
Well, the internet, like the Wi-Fi thing.
Yes, that is payments, but it's not really a loan. You're just paying every month.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's not a loan of the internet, so yeah. I kind of get what you mean. How about investments? Well, investment means that you are going to take and put money somewhere, and you're not going to touch it for a long time because you want it to grow. So imagine that your grandpa gave you, before he died, $5,000 for college, okay? And then he kicks off, and then you still got the $5,000, and you invested in something. Well, we're going to show you how you can invest and how you can see how much that would grow to over time with this special calculator. So investments could be just a lump sum, or it could be monthly, or maybe you do both. Maybe grandpa gives you $5,000, and then you also add $200 a month because you're saving for college. That's a typical investment scenario. You start with some money, then you add a monthly amount to it. Okay, good enough. Move on to this. This is this hideous formula that we aren't going to actually use. So I'm realizing that I kind of wasted a bunch of time talking about this formula, because we're going to use a computer version of this formula. Okay, so we're going to save you the time of trying to learn this, because you don't have to use this formula. Your calculator is going to do it for you, which is pretty awesome. All right, so what it would do is, one P word that you're going to have to use on the formula too is principal. I think I've mentioned this one before. It's like the boss number. Okay, the principal at the school, he's the boss in the school. Okay, he or she, in this case, we have a he principal. Mr. Erickson is the boss. Okay, well, the boss number is how much you start with. And if you started with borrowing, let's say $100,000, then that's your principal number. Now let's talk about, if you borrow $100,000, in what way is it positive? Well, because it comes into your hands. You borrow $100,000, they actually give you $100,000, which you then have to pay back, right? You usually use it to buy your fancy car, or you buy your house with, or whatever. But you borrowed the money. Do you get how the $100,000 could be positive because you got it into your hand? In a way, it's a negative because you owe them $100,000. But the way the calculator thinks is, you just got $100,000 into your account, and every month you have a negative payment. Do you get how PMT could stand for payment? You have a negative payment that's going to be paying them back. Every month it's a negative. It was $100,000 of positive up front because they gave you a bunch of money, and now your payments are all negative. You got to pay it back, pay it back, pay it back until the future value is 0. All right, so let's get this screen. So Jimbo is investing in a Roachbuck portfolio. He puts in 500. Hint, I just said that was a P word. What's it called? Principal. It's got 500 in principal, and it's going to get 24% per year. That is way too much. In the real world, you don't get that much interest. Okay, but this is what they said. So the interest is 24%. How much will he have after 3 years? This would be a pain in the butt without a calculator, so we're going to use a calculator. So this is the part where we're going to learn how to put that kind of stuff into a calculator. So I'm actually going to skip this next purple page and go right to the calculator option. All right, so then we could spend the most time, maybe even before lunch, I can have taught you how to use the calculator. Maybe it'll be that plus a little bit of review right after you come back from lunch. So we have this thing called the TMV solver. And it looks like this, but it's going to be hard for you to find, so I'm going to show you. Those of you that are following along at home and might be like, yeah, that's great, Mr. Server, but I don't have a calculator at home. Because there's a couple kids absent today that are missing this lesson. This, if you type it in very carefully at home on a browser window, bit.ly/free, and this is a capital G, or it won't work, G-Calc, all right? That is a graphing calculator, and it's just like the one that you have in front of you, okay? But we have enough for this class that I'll be able to let you borrow one of my calculators on test day. Only problem is you won't be able to bring it home. So what if you're doing your project at home? Remember this. So I know you're not going to go back and look at your notes. I want you to zoom in on this right now and screenshot that. Screenshot it right now, because I know you don't take many pictures with your iPad. So screenshot this, and then you'll always know where to find it. It's in your pictures. And then you can just type that in. And if you're ever at home, because like, I don't know, 8 of you borrowed my calculators, unless you're going to let me keep your phone all night while you keep my calculator, right? You're probably going to want to trade that back, and I need my calculator back. This is where you can get one of the calculators. The keys are exactly the same as the calculator you have on your desk right now. All right, so everybody find this key on the calculator right there. It's right near the green alpha key. We're going to use that green key later, but for right now, do you see kind of kitty corner from that green key, apps?
Yep.
When you hit apps, do you see that finance is the first one that comes up?
Finance.
Pick that one. So hit enter on finance, and then you have a choice of these different finance apps.
Ooh,
And they put the TMV or TVM solver. Time value of money is what TVM stands for.
pressing the first one?
Yep, take the first one in every category. And that means that this is the best of all the finance apps that they have. You probably only use this one, but it's seriously really good. Like, I know teachers who use this to figure out what their loan payments would be for different, like, real houses or cars. Like, it works. This will actually give you real amounts. So, like, thinking about buying that house, I wonder what the payments would be. You can whip this thing out, type in some numbers quick, and the answer will be within like a few cents of exactly what the bank would charge you. So this is really cool and powerful. When you did that, if you did that right, it pulled up these N, I, PV, PMT, FV, P/Y, C/Y, and this is a really important part. If you didn't get this to come up, in a minute I'm going to walk around and make sure you've got this. But type in all of these numbers, and these ones that are negative, they have to be negative or it's going to screw this whole thing up. And there's 2 minus keys on the calculator. Did you know that? One of them is for negative 500. One is for minus 500. The one at the very bottom of the keyboard, that's the one you want. Remember, you want negative for this, not minus. Use the one that's at the very bottom row. Otherwise, the calculator will be like, error.
Am I writing these same numbers?
You are going to type these same exact numbers into your calculator while I'm walking around. This one you can leave blank. If you have to put in a number there, put in 0 if that forces you to. All right? And I'm going to talk these numbers over in a minute, but for right now, I just got to make sure everybody's found it and they're able to type in these numbers. If it says error, it's because you used the wrong negative sign.
So you do the A,
I'm going to pause while you give that one a try. Always from here, you're going to have payments per year be 12. The reason these, and payments and compoundings, we're just going to always do monthly payment problems. So those are always going to be at 12. These are negative because it's coming out of our checking account and going into an investment. And we will do more with this after lunch. Now, for those that borrowed the calculators, bring the calculator back and you can take your phone back. So we are back from lunch, and a quick reminder, N is the number of payments, okay? And that's 12 times 10 is 120, that'd be 12 years. 14% interest. This is negative because it comes out of his checking account and goes into an investment. This is also negative because he's making payments at 25 bucks a month for it to grow over time. The future value is something we haven't done yet, and I want to do it right now. Everybody get the cursor. You guys know what that is? The little black box that like moves when you hit the arrow keys. Make the cursor be right here, and it'll blink on and off. Okay? On the calculator. Get your calculator open. This is only going to work if you're on the calculator. All right, so in the future value, it's blinking on and off, right? Have you got that? Okay, here's what we do. To get that number, we're going to make it solve for it. So it's called alpha solve. Alpha is the green key. And the top left, there's only one key that is painted green. Hit it. You haven't hit the alpha key. Alpha is the green key. Then you hit solve, which is in the lower right. It's right where enter is. See above that it says solve? That's called an alpha solve. It's probably the first time you've ever done it. And then it tells you alpha solve, alpha's the green key, solve is right above the enter key. Okay, and then it set a number there. Morgan, what number did it say?
8,407.
Can anybody verify 8407?
87.
Oh, 8487?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What does that mean? That means if you started with $500, yes, 8,487, and you put in $25 a month after that for 120 months, then you'd have $8,000. So you're getting 14% interest on this crazy checking account. Nobody would pay you that much, but all right. If you did not get 8487 here, you don't know how to alpha solve yet. I need to see who didn't catch that. So I'm going to make sure yours says 8487 there. I'm going to pause while I walk around and make sure everybody's got this. Okay, so I think you understood that. Let's see you do another one. Everybody start with this one.
Oh, now we're
It's slightly different.
So do we restart?
You don't have to wipe it, you just have to change each number as you come to it. Like, for instance, look at this problem. Is it over the course of 3 years like last time? No.
No.
What does it say for how many years?
20.
20 years.
How do you let
So,
go?
wait,
Sorry.
listen.
Sorry.
It's 20 years, so go up for N and put, let me make sure, it's per year. Yep, so put 20 for N.
How
It's
do you
not 20
reset that?
years in months, it's just 20. Just go up there and type 20.
Here? 20?
Just go up there and type 20. Yep.
Just one.
Oh.
Just 20. Now you might be thinking, why aren't we doing months? Because it didn't say months. This said it's doing it each year. Okay, so then it's 20 times you're going to do this, 20 years. What is your interest rate? I see it. Do you see it? Say it.
24.
24%. So you type 24 right there. Change the numbers on your calculator. Next, present value or principal value. He started with 500 bucks, but some kids are going to forget the negative, so I'll tell you, negative 500. Why?
Same as last time.
Yep, because he's taking money out of his pile of money and setting it aside.
He's taking out money.
Taking money out of his checking account and putting it in this investment. I know that's confusing. I get it. I was even a little confused last hour myself. So negative 500 because he's taking 500 out of his checking and putting it in this investment. Then every month, no wait, this isn't monthly, this one's yearly. Every year he's going to add $100 each year. So negative 100. Now, the future value is usually the thing you solve for. But wait, this one, if we leave 12 in here, that's going to mean it's monthly. You heard it. It was per year. It's not 12 payments per year. It is one, and I said these will always be the same. Excuse me. Whew. So, if you put all those numbers in, then there's only one way to do it. You use the green alpha key, and you alpha, then solve. And the solve key is right above the enter key.
So wait, green and then.
And these calculators, you can't hold two keys down at once. I used to think that. You need to hold them both down. No. That's on a keyboard. These simple graphing calculators, you can't hold two keys at once. So you hit the alpha once, and then you hit solve. All right, Daniel B, what did you get? Or have you not alpha solved yet?
No.
Sylvia, have you alpha solved yet? Not Sylvia, I'm not seeing your name tag, I'm sorry. It is Sophia. Sorry, I have another kid that sits in the same seat. Okay, having issues. It's okay. So this is where you guys should compare with each other and get each other some help. All right, I'm trying to find somebody who's got it. Gabe, did you get it?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
67292.
That is correct. Say it one more time.
292.
292. Who else got 67292? Okay, good. You guys were doing it right. Just got unlucky in the first two people. All right, so 20 years, 24% interest, $500 to start with comes out of his checking, and then $100 comes out of his checking every month. Why is this one positive? Because at the end, he gets to bring that over into his checking account, and that's his big pile of money he has saved up over 20 years. All right, it only started with $500, but yet he's got 67,000 at the end. That's pretty cool. All right, so do one more. You'll start by depositing $1,000 into this investment. So a present value of negative 1,000. Note, this is negative key, not minus key. I think we've talked about that. It's the one that's at the very bottom of the keyboard. It's negative it comes out of your everyday checking account money. All right. So, wait a minute. This is just talking through that last problem. Nope, this is different because it's starting with 1,000. Okay, my bad. So notice here, they want to do, just ignore the 50 years thing. They're saying how they got their 7%. They took the average of stocks over 50 years. So 7% is the interest. This negative 100 is what you're depositing every month. Notice this is monthly. And then alpha solve for the future value in 24 months. So there, they just told you everything you need to know. Please scribble out this last question about 40 years. It's just going to confuse you. That's when we're done with the other question. Okay? Don't do that till we're done with this one. So where the heck is the 1,000? And by the way, it says negative 1,000. It tells you that. Where does that go? Where does the 1,000 go? Yes. Negative 1,000. What interest are we getting this time? This is like the third time you dropped your calculator. Whatever you're doing, stop that. Okay, so that's 7%. So we're going to put 7% right here. N is 24. It says so right there. Payment, PMT. There it is. Negative 100. Future value, I don't know. Payments per year, ooh, it tells me that because it said monthly. Whenever it said per month, that was like a big hint. This is 12, and both of them are the same, remember? Then the only thing we don't have is the future value. So you do alpha solve for future value, and let's see who's got it and who still doesn't get it. You make the blinky cursor go right there. You go alpha, green key, and then you can't do simultaneous keys. Alpha, then solve. Gabe, since last time you got it, I'm trusting you probably got it again. Can you tell me what you got?
Yeah. 3717.
Can anybody verify 3717? A bunch of people are raising their hands. It's probably right. If you didn't have 371, aw, dang it, that goes in phone jail. I was hoping that you were looking at your calculator. All right, so Jesse, did you get 3717?
Yes.
All right, then you get to explain what the heck it is. Is it like how many Nerf balls that we have in the basement?
It's how much money I accumulate those 24 months.
Very good. How much money you'll accumulate after 24 months. Getting 7% interest, and I don't want you to have to reiterate it all, but started with 1,000. All right, very good. Now, one last thing is a loan. We haven't done any loans yet, so I'm going to do one last thing as a loan. Okay. I'm going over here. Loan. All right. let's say that you're borrowing $2,000. Let's say it's because you have this great idea for a business. You're just going to need some money to get it started. Can you just leave that thing on? It's distracting. Okay, so you're borrowing $2,000. The bank says, sure, we'll borrow you that if you give us 10% interest. And let's say that you're going to borrow it for 5 years. And you want to get it all paid back in 5 years. All right. Do this one on your calculator. N. What did I just say? It was 5 years, but you don't put 5 there because it's in a monthly question. This is how much a month is our payment. 60 is correct. Because that's 5 times 12 is 60. That's why we got the 60. Okay, next is interest. I just straight up told you that. Carly, what's the interest rate?
10%.
So you put 10 there. Next line of the calculator. Morgan, tell me, I actually have forgotten. What's the next thing that you see after I? PV? Okay, that's the present value of this thing. If you're borrowing $2,000, it's coming into your checking account so that you can use it to invest in your business. That's positive $2,000. I get how that's confusing, but you just borrowed money from the bank and then you get it into your checking account now. You just gained $2,000. All right, next one. Xander, you need to be typing these in. N is 60, I is 10, PV is 2,000. Jack, can you tell me what the next line is after PV?
No, because I'm not sure.
Okay, are you on the apps TVM Finance?
Yes.
Okay, then read that. It says N,
Oh.
and then it says I, and then it says PV. I'm gonna pause.
PMT.
Okay, PMT, thank you. That's the payment, and we don't know what that is, so we just skip it for now, or put a 0 for now, and then we go on to the next thing, which is what? Future value, very good. Now this is the weird part. On a loan, your future value, you want the loan to go away eventually, because you have it all paid back. What number sounds like go away to you? 0 is correct. Your future value, you want to be 0. And then I think it's the P/Y and the C/Y. Is that correct?
Yep.
Thank you. And those are monthly. So what do you put? 12, 12. Okay, cool. And then don't forget that you're on end and have that darkened in on end payments at the end of the month. Okay, where'd you get the 60? That was 5 years at 12 months. So 5 times 12. That's how we got the 60. Okay, so now, what do we solve for? The payment. Everybody put the cursor right here, the black box that kind of blinks on and off, and do alpha solve right there.
And then enter.
Yep. That'll tell you how much a month you have to pay. And it better be a negative amount because it's going to come out of your checking account.
Yeah.
Negative how much?
$42.
That means you have to pay $42 a month to pay back your $2,000 over 5 years.
Yeah.
See how that worked?
I didn't.
So if you wanted to lend money to your brother, you could set it up using this calculator. Be like, yeah, I'll give you $2,000, but you got to give me $42 a month for the next 5 years. And that way you'll make 10% interest on them. All right. Now, I don't expect you to be awesome at this yet, but there's only 3 questions. I bet we can do one of them together, and that leaves you with 2 homework problems. So open the worksheet. Find the worksheet. Open it. Keep your calculator out. You're going to need it for this. Get the worksheet up on the screen to do this. We're almost done with this class. Nolan, can you read me problem 1? And I'm going to just write down the key info.
Alejandro invested $350 to the stock market.
$350. That's the P.
He averages 5% return on his investment.
5%, that's the I. Keep going.
So he is planning on putting in extra $40 per month.
40, that's the PMT.
How much will Alejandro have in his account after 5 years?
5 years. And was that payment per year or per month?
Per month.
Monthly.
Per month.
Okay. All right, then everybody has the same little things to fill in. Your N, your I, your PV. I think it's FV next.
PMT.
Oh, PMT next, thank you.
Then
Then FV, then payments per year and C per year. And those are always the same. Okay, so I would just go through and put in the stuff as I got it. I got 350 present value. That's coming out of his checking account. So it's negative 350. It'd be really easy to by accident think it was positive, but he paid it out of his normal money into this thing. So it's minus 350. Interest, 5. Number of months, oh, it's really easy to think 5. But then you go 5 times 12 and it is 60. You are correct. Your calculator would be able to multiply that for you though. Payment, 40, but it's coming out of your checking account every month. Future value, well, I don't know. Well, that's the whole point. These are 12s. You can alpha solve right there.
Boom.
That's how you do it.
Oh no, where did my thing go?
Those numbers. They're on the board. We're almost done. Graham, what did you put in for your N? This is supposed to be 5 times 12. I was afraid you hadn't got that one yet. 60. All right, Danny Kinzer, your interest rate.
5%.
5, okay. What's the PV? Why is it negative, Danny?
Because they're taking $350 out of your account.
Taking it out of your account to put it in the investment. Very good. The payment is also 40 a month. And then you did this alpha solve. And Danny, I'm trusting you probably got it. What do you get? Have you alpha solved that yet?
3746. I don't think that.
Well, that feels...
I got 3
I had 3169.
3169.
All right. 3169, a lot of people are saying. And Danny, just check your numbers. Did you have 60? Did you have 5? Did you have negative 350? Did you have negative 40? And did you have 12 under these two?
Yeah.
Then do alpha solve one last time. Just try it again.
Oh, I put in the number for the next problem.
Ah, that's the problem. You already had numbers in there from a different problem. Okay. All right. So there is your right answer for problem number 1. Do you get your job? Is to just stick the numbers in the calculator in the right spots, and you'll get the answer. That's all there is to it. The only thing that's really confusing is whether things are negative or not. These are the two that get people confused a ton. Those, the PV and the PMT, whether they're negative or not, that's what really goofs people up. Also, sometimes people goof up the number of months versus years. If it's in months, make sure you put months up there. All right. I hope you feel a little bit smarter about how to use that program. And that's all I got for the video for today.